I saw a tweet today, now that I can venture back into those lands. Over the last 2 weeks, the Eagles have signed or traded for Robert Quinn, Ndamukong Suh, and Joseph. And basically, like, they're never satisfied. And having worked for Howie, they just lost one game. They're 8-1. And they are a 7-point favorite on the road. Like, they're really good. But their mindset is just not to like, well, I know we traded up and got this guy 370-pound run stuffer, Jordan Davis. He'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll just patchwork it till then. No, they said, fuck that. And they went and signed 2 guys. And on the flip side of like, the Eagles are clearly not going anywhere for the next several years, right? They have a core of younger, talented players. I don't know if you saw the draft order right behind the Raiders is this team called the Saints. That's the Eagles pick. So like Will Anderson might be an Eagle, or the Penn State tackle. Like, they're going to get a sweet player. And then they also have to pick later. So the Eagles are going nowhere, but their mindset is like to be very aggressive. Howie, just haven't seen him. It's like he's always trying to patch the hole, and it's never just keep your fingers crossed. This guy's going to be okay. And I do feel like the Niners have kind of done that with Armstead and Kinlaw. They just kind of kept their fingers crossed for the last several weeks. They signed that random T.Y. McGill, like after they do a workout. It's like, we'll see if this comes back to bite them, because I think the reason they got Sue, and maybe it'll come out, is Ndamukong, no one's offering him any money. I'm not just going to play for anyone for the veteran minimum. But it gets to this point in time, how he goes, you can win a Super Bowl here. Like, you just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Bucs. How about you win another one? It's like, shit, I'll do it. Well, couldn't the Niners have made that same pitch? And they've literally needed bodies, because when I was watching the game against the Chargers, you feel their defensive line it's not the same. Now, they still are productive because they have one of the best players in the league, but top to bottom, it is nowhere near, because they're missing, even if I don't even count Kinlaw, which that should be a problem. Like, let's just not even assume he's coming back. Like, they've been missing Armstead now for a long period of time. And it just kind of feels like they're just hoping that it just comes back, because they've shown their actions. They'll just bring up a guy on a practice squad or sign a random guy. Like, Howie did something real, sign real players, especially Sue, right? He's an older veteran, but he would play for the Niners. So
Linville Joseph started 12 games for the Chargers last year.
It'll just be interesting to see how this plays out with those 2 guys, specifically Kinlaw is going to come off IR, and Armstead, if he can ever return, and how these guys help, because the Eagles also go, like, Jordan Davis is coming back in a couple weeks from this ankle sprain. I just think the Niners, they've just been much more prudent with this position, because in the past it's worked out that way. They've been able to.
And they're, to be fair to them, John, they develop it really well. They are deep at that spot, right?
But just signing a guy off the street doesn't do it, doesn't factor into like losing draft picks, or it's not like you're paying Sue any money, right?
Right. I just mean, like, the Niners, it's not crazy for them to have some level of confidence in that, in what they have ahead of whoever they're signing off the street in a given, week 11, right?
Now, on this specific player, Kasarik was in Detroit with Jim Washburn and Sue. So, I guess there is a chance he doesn't like him.
Yeah, that's true.
But Joseph is a guy, like, there just are veteran bodies out there, and it just feels like the Niners have tried to patchwork it a little bit. And this isn't like the downfall of their team, but the Eagles, like, their mentality is always double down, double down, double down. That's That's just Howie.
It's Rams-ish, but with picks.
It's like Rams they're smart with it.
Football Outsiders has a stat called power success, the percentage of runs on 3rd or 4th down with less than 2 to go. So 3rd and 2 or less, 4th and 2 or less, in which it gets picked up. The Eagles are dead last in that stat. Offenses pick it up 86% of the time with the run. The Niners are actually 4th to last in that stat, 78%.
Well, because
now the Niners are also like top 10 in sack rate, right? Bosa is 2nd in the league in sacks, but
yeah, but to me, this is more about the run and the beat that they're missing. Yep. And I saw someone in the chat was like, mid-season signings rarely work out. Yeah, but you can also cut the guy in a couple weeks. You're not tied to anything. Like when you make the trade for Robert Quinn or Christian McCaffrey, like you've made a move to acquire. When you just sign a guy off the street, it's always weird to be like street free agents, especially when they're like Ndamukong Suh's probably made $200 million. Like he's not some like unemployed loser.
I was on my couch in my mansion.
I've just been tweeting about fucking BlockFi and interest rates, bro.
But having breakfast with my guys in Nebraska.
To me, a street free agent, for the most part, is very, very low risk because whatever you get's gravy, and if it doesn't, you just move on. Coleman's a good example, right? Early this season, Niners needed a running back, boom, just signed him. He gave him a couple of carries. If it works, great. If not, just cut him, right? There's just you're not tied to him. That's the best part about the NFL. You can just always get in and out of, honestly, the majority of players on your team.
Yeah.